Bajan and a Trinidadian dying with starvation. The Bajan say, look, Trini, now we make a cook. I put the rice, you going to put the meat. Then we going both have something to eat. But when the pot was nearly to done, the Bajan decided to pull off as one. He said, Trini, I'm a born for Bajan. I don't like to fight. But when come to the occasion, man, I stick for my right. You put in a 12-cent meat bowl, you was to the lice. I gonna give you a word of advice. Take your meat out my rice. You put in a You put in are they You put in a 12-cent meat bowl, you was to the lice. I gonna give you a word of advice. Take your meat out my rice. You put in a 12-cent meat bowl, you was to the lice. I gonna give you a word of advice. Take your meat out my rice.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the West Rheinveld Market Meat section. Call us on 609-2049. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop brings you the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
Comes out your son. You burn this wine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Comes, I say them heart not kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, Redder.
Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money never, money never, money never, money never, money never, money. Now know what you can have in money. Money never, money never, money never, money never, money never, money. You can keep, you can have in money. When you've been up for a bum, in a bills there'll be money. Now because your money done, you come with conniving money. Then you had your pocket full, in a bills there'll be money. Now because your money done, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money never, money never, money, money never, money, money. Now know what you conniving money. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a get a piece. A 2 pound note and a get a piece. A 2 pound note and a get a piece. This is all the money that me walk for. I said money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. Now I know what you can have in money.
Well, I invoke the WPA's position that we are engaging in.
You put in a 12-cent meatball, you was to the lice. I gonna give you a word of advice. Take your meat out my rice.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the West Ramvelt Market Meat section. Call us on 609-2049. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop brings you the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
Invoke the WPA's position that we are engaging in civil disobedience and non-cooperation with the government, and on that grounds I refuse to participate in the interview. The question in struggle, is not personal. Whatever sacrifice as a political activist or a political leader you have to make for your people, you have to make it.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in to Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Comes TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruptions over land and sea, where the wicked politicians they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see, sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. I sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, which Jah has ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. I say, Guyanese morning.
Come show me your last wine before you lay down. Show me your last wine before you lay down. Them boxing gal can't wine. Them boxing gal can't wine. Yes, Kwekwe fans. The cultural ambassador presents Kwekwe Night. Friday 25th of August at Club Twilight. Sideline down Buxton North. Come out and have a jolly time with Brian Chester and the Kwekwe crew. Yes, Kwekwe Night. Friday, August 25th. Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Come out and represent your name. Them boxing gal can't wine. Them boxing gal can't wine. Show me your last wine before you lay down. Show me your last wine before you lay down. Yes, massive, come out. Come connect with the culture at Club Twilight. Friday, August 25th. Kwekwe Night. Gates open at 6 o'clock.
You put in a 12 cents meatball, you washed on a lice. I going to give you a word of advice. Check your meat out my rice.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the West Ramvelt Market Meat section. Call us on 609-2049. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop brings you the best in fresh cut meats and lots more. able to listen to and follow the discussion on Twin Island Media with Dr. Hines and Dr. Thomas, I'm also sure that you heard some interesting things there, right? This is not, Dr. Thomas is not Guyanese as far as I know. It's not the Dr. Thomas that we have here, Clive Thomas. And so Dr. Hines will be able to tell us more about Dr. Thomas, I hope, because he's joining us now. And so we can perhaps continue that discourse with Dr. Hines about that discourse on Twin Island Media, because the fact is, it's an interesting discourse, quite frankly. Here is an outsider, let me call him an outsider, saying to us definitively, listen, if the messaging is right from the coalition, the APNU can see itself back in power in a shorter time than many people anticipate. That for me is an interesting statement. It's a clear message to all of us who are in this battle with the PPP for good governance and all of the electoral changes and so on. In my mind, to be fully energized and to want to work towards the right messaging to see the backs of the PPP. Dr. Hines, interesting discussion you had here on Twin Island Media, 94.1. I want to zoom in right away to that statement made by Dr. Thomas. But first, who is Dr. Thomas really?
He's Antiguan. He's an Antiguan political analyst, and I've appeared on many programs with him. He's, like those of us who comment on Caribbean politics. The Caribbean is not one country. So you're talking CARICOM alone. It means that there are 15 countries we have to keep up with the politics in those countries. So we're called upon to be up to date with politics in all of the countries, and he's fairly knowledgeable about Guyana, and he's a political strategist. And remember, both parties at the last election employed a lot of strategists from the wider Caribbean to work on our elections. A lot of times people don't know that somebody like myself, who's not a political consultant or a political strategist, but from time to time, I've gotten calls for advice from individual candidates across the Caribbean and so on. So, yes, he's a political consultant, and he's in the business of trying to win elections for parties across the region.
He did mention that he worked with a coalition, and so he knows what he's talking about. My words, my choice of words. So he has said, listen, he has identified two issues in Guyana, and that is the racial divide as a major issue in terms of the handling of the oil wealth and so on. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, these professional people, messaging is very important for them. And I do agree that messaging is important, but I may not be thinking along the same lines as, let's say, Dr. Thomas. For me, messaging has to do with not messaging. It depends on, okay, let me put it this way. I rather suspect Dr. Thomas is talking about a messaging that goes after crossover votes. Because in these ethnic societies, that's when professionals tell you about messaging. That's what they're talking about. But I think that there's also another kind of messaging, and that is the messaging to your base. Because from a political strategy standpoint, and this is not, David Hines, the political partisan person, strategy. If I were a consultant and I was advising the APNU, I would say to them, yes, you have to have a messaging towards crossover vote, but you also have to have an equal messages towards your supporters, because you lost by 1 seat or 2 seats, depending on how you look at it. And you didn't get an avalanche of crossover votes. But if the number says something to you, almost 25% of your support base didn't come out for you. And so you should have a message to get about half of that of your base that didn't come out for you, even as you are trying to get another 2%, 5% of crossover. So your messaging has to be a two-pronged message. And often the APNU message has been a crossover message rather than a message geared towards that 25% of the voters who don't register, and even if they register, they don't go to the poll. So I think messaging is important, but in a place like Guyana, it has to be a multi-pronged message rather than a single message. In a place like Antigua and Barbuda, they don't have an ethnic problem. And so your messaging has to be a straight party message. And you have to identify that group. Often it's young people. In a place like Antigua, the last election, it was young people, new voters, who were making a difference. And the messaging of the opposition, UPP, was geared towards the young people. And they came within 2 seats of winning the election. They came from a situation of 1 seat to, I think, about 8 seats. And so messaging in those countries are different from the message in a place like Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana and Suriname. Half of it. If they were able to get half of it, 40% of that 25%, they would have won the elections comfortably. But they ignored, and Kidaki, you would remember that we went around to 23 African Guyanese community, and we picked that up. We picked that up in 2019, and we reported to the leadership of the coalition that, look, you have a problem with your constituency, and we estimated that they were about 20 to 25%. And the way we did that is that we went to a place like Victoria. And we had about 75 to 100 people in the school hall who turned out to a WPA meeting. And we figured that if 75 people in Victoria came out to a WPA meeting as opposed to a PNC meeting, and they're voicing their frustration with the way the coalition was governing, we are saying that you probably have about 8 to 10 times that in Victoria. So we are saying there are about upwards of 750 people in Victoria who you're not going to get to that poll unless you work on them. You know? So, and when we did the numbers, we said there are about 20-25 things, and we volunteered. That give us the resources, and we are going to give us that job, and we are going to go and anyhow, I don't want to say on here because that's gone. But I'm still saying that 20 to 25% of our supporters, it might have grown since the election because we are now in opposition. That's there, and we are not. Well, let me take it back and say we are not focusing on them. We are focusing on them. I am focusing. You are focusing on them. But I'm saying as a collective, from a strategic standpoint, from an electoral standpoint, I think that we have not yet come around to the thing that we have to focus on that 20 to 25% of our supporters who are not necessarily in tune with us. They hear, and I again anecdotal, but I mean, I was a guy for 3.5 months, and I move around, and I pay close attention to those disaffected, quote unquote, voters, and I am convinced that a lot of them know what is going on. I mean, the fact that they could identify myself, yourself, I was in El Dorado, young men, playing domino and so on. And I got there, it took them 2 minutes, they recognized me, and they said, what about your other friend, Kidaki? This morning he got the man, put it on, and they wanted to speak to you. And I was looking for you, but you were sleeping, right? But it's anecdotal, but it is that voter that I think as an opposition that we have to get into. They're there, they're listening, but we have to convince them that their vote could bring home a victory. If they hear that we are going after crossover vote and that they don't matter, they will continue to listen to you and me and don't go and vote. So I am saying our strategy and our messaging must change. I am also convinced that there's a critical mass, if not a majority of African Guyanese, that have become jealous of their identity. That more and more we're realizing that we are discriminated as African Guyanese, that our plight has to do with our race. And so therefore, we're open to a message that is directed towards us as a race. Now, so there has to be more than one message. A message towards us as Guyanese voters, a message towards us as poor people, maybe as women, as youth, but a message towards us as African Guyanese. You see, and that has always been the missing message of the PNC/APNU, not recognizing that you have a young Black woman. Your message to that young Black woman can't be just as a youth. It has to be as a young woman, a mother, and an African Guyanese mother, because she lives in an African Guyanese community. And she knows that the state responds to her not just as a woman, not just as a poor woman, but as a poor African Guyanese woman, because she's looking over at another young woman who's Indian Guyanese or Portuguese Guyanese. They went to school together at one of the secondary schools. And they see the job that their schoolmate is doing. They see the job that their Indian or Portuguese schoolmate is doing. And they look at the job that they're doing. And they're measuring, you see, and they're coming to the consciousness that we went to school together, we passed our subjects together, but look at where she is. She owns a business. She is earning so much money. Here I am. I am working in the civil service. I'm a teacher. I'm earning $90,000. And my classmate is over there. We went to school together, but she's earning 10 times $90,000 and so on. So we measure our condition against people across the ethnic divide. And so I think we have to speak to that young woman directly as an African Guyanese young woman, not just as a young woman, but as an African Guyanese young woman. I don't know. We all are doing work. I mean, even as I am criticizing the party, I am doing that work. You are doing that work, right? So it's not that we are criticizing, we are not doing the work. We are doing that work that we are asking the strategists in the big party to take on board. And I think so. The answer to your question, I think we are making some grounds in speaking to that element in the society. That message, that narrative of the African Guyanese and how important it is to use the electoral framework as a means of liberation. I mean, often when people are in the condition that African Guyanese are in, they generally don't think about elections as change. They think about resistance, protest, revolution, and so on. And you have to convince them that you can also use the electoral route as a means towards liberation. And so it has to be a message that recognizes where they are and crafting that message. And like I said, you and I and others have been doing that kind of work. We would only know the extent to which that work has broad resonance if we do polling. And we don't do polling in Guyana, certainly independent political parties do polling. You know, the APNU does polling. I know that the PPP does polling all the time. And often they don't share that poll with persons like myself. I know the APNU did polling before the last election. And they didn't share that polling with the WPA. But later on, we found out that the polling found what we found, anecdotally. Whether, in fact, what aspect of the poll we decide to run with at the election is another matter. But we can only know those things through polling. And polling is an expensive thing. It's also not a culture in Guyana. And so we have to go by anecdotes. And anecdotes often are not enough.
You know, Dr. Hines, yes, it's fair to say that you and I, among others, we are doing the work that we identify as necessary to be done. But given the nature of Guyanese politics especially, Guyanese like quote-unquote big party politics. And so a lot of people would rather look at the messaging of the leader of the opposition or the quote-unquote bigger heads in the opposition. And they react to that message. Do you believe that the leader of the opposition is at that place, or the messaging of the leader of the opposition is at that place to convince the people who have, what should I say, become despondent in the support base to return to the fold?
Well, I wouldn't want to focus on the leader of the opposition message. I would rather focus on the first question you raised, and that is the way we are oriented towards big party politics. I think that itself is undergoing some modification. I wouldn't say change. I think it is undergoing some modification. What platforms like these have done is that they've offered people like yourself and myself from quote-unquote small parties a platform to which we can speak to people directly, something that we didn't have before. We would have had to find money to go into communities, hold public meetings, and so on. Because of this new media, we are able to speak to people directly. And people are coming to a recognition that there is not a single message from a big party, that there are several messages coming from the various parties and individuals outside of the large party. And in some senses, we have to be influencing some section of the public opinions in the opposition camp. As I said, we can only know the extent of that through polling. All right? But my hunch is that there is some adjustment to that big party messaging. I think the messaging and people's response to the message is much more nuanced than they were 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Well, Lester Tom is saying to us that this program has changed the mindset of many, including himself. He has learned a lot from this program. But Esther Blue is also saying that the leader of the opposition needs to work more closely with you and I.
Well, I have heard that view. I heard that view in Congress Place. I went to Congress Place as a fundraiser put on by the PNC a couple of weeks ago. They had a oldies dance there, and I was told that by many people who I rather suspect are either PNC or they're split between, the PNC and others. I take my village, our village, Buxton, as a good example. I think the average Buxtonian walking, and if you ask them, are you PNC and WPA, they will tell you I'm both. And if you be critical, they may say, some may tell you I'm 50-50, some may say I'm 75% WPA, 25% PNC. The point I'm making is that the people, most of us, well not most, I don't know most, but a critical mass of our opposition supporters would rather not have to make a choice between a WPA and a PNC. They would rather us work together. It is, I always remember, shortly after the APN was formed, Dr. Ryan and I, on Sundays, we would go to West Police. Because, WPA has long relations with back to the Asper time with West Police. We're just going to the communities, and sometimes we would have a person there who would pull people together, Dr. Hines and Dr. Ryan come in. And I remember all the African men and women in Belladrum and Oaktown and El Dorado and so on, 28, telling us that they're so glad that before the APNU, because to quote them, they no longer have to choose between Guayana people and Borno people. And I always say, Dr. Ryan is not an emotional person. He's not. But I remember him saying to me very emotionally that you engage in politics over a period of time and you think you are correct in what you're doing, but you don't know how much you are burdening ordinary people on the ground who have to make choices. You're forcing them to make choices that they would otherwise not want to make. And I think that we are at that point again in our politics, certainly on the opposition side, on the African Guyanese side, that our people prefer us to work together rather than be working against. And we have to decide what are we going to do. Now, I am not prepared. I am telling you that. I will argue with WPA. I am not prepared to work in a coalition of parties in which I am seen as a small party who don't bring nothing to the table. I think at the end of the day, we know that the PNC is the largest party in terms of resources, in terms of longevity, in terms of ability to mobilize voters and get more voters out, and so on. But I do believe that there are things that other parties like ours bring to the table. And, I don't want to be in a coalition that you decide before an election that I'm a one-seat party. And so you're treating me as a one-seat. I'm doing 20-seat work, but you already decide if you win, you can give me one seat. I have a problem with that. I am doing work. And I think at the end of the day, each party, regardless of size, has to be respected for the work it does. All right? I suppose we have a little sway in a place like Buxton. I have no problem in inviting the opposition leader to come to Buxton and give him center stage. Because I think he's the opposition leader, and he ought to speak. I have no problem in arguing in organizations that I belong to that the opposition leader should come, because I am thinking strategically. I am not thinking big party and small party. I'm saying I have a little bit sway in this community, and my party. I must bring my partner party to increase that space that's there. And I don't know that the other party behaves in that way, but the more we behave in that way, the better. Where we have space, bring our partners to increase that space. I am prepared to stand down anytime in a place that I may have a little bit of sway for the opposition leader, because I'm thinking team, T-E-A-M. I am thinking winning. I am not thinking big party, little party. I'm not thinking territorially and so on. I am saying that as an opposition, we have to begin to think that way, because you're going to get resistance from somebody like myself, and I suppose from you, if you continue to just treat me as peripheral when I'm doing center work, and you're treating me as peripheral. So the opposition has to undergo thinking. It's strategic thinking. If we are going to maximize our potential at the next election.
Indeed so, and you raise the matter of the PNC being the biggest party because of its capacity. And so I'm hearing that should the WPA, because of the work that the WPA is doing, you and I know what is being done, and viewers, I'm sure, can associate with what is being done. Isn't it possible that with capacity, we can perhaps match the work of the PNC?
What do you mean by match the work of the PNC?
All right, we are saying, listen, the thing here is that the PNC has the capacity to mobilize across the country and bring out more votes and so on. Am I hearing you say that the WPA lacks that capacity because of resources? And if it were to get the resources to build that capacity, it can very well contribute as much to any coalition, or perhaps more than the PNC does.
Yes, that is a speculation. The more resources you get, the more work you do.
Very well. It's now 18 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. You tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. I'm chatting with Dr.
But let me just say, lest that you leave that hanging and people, we in the WPA are not about competing with the PNC. I want to make that very, very clear. All right? We are about maximizing our resources and our work as opposition. That's where we stand now. Right? We are very clear. We have said that publicly. Right? And that is our approach. Now, it's up to the PNC how it wants to treat with that position. We have been calling publicly and privately for an all-opposition front. I know of no struggle like the one that we have, where any one party can win it. I mean, you're up against a state that is flush with money, a state that is using power like a sledgehammer. You're up against a dictatorship, and you don't have an all-opposition front. As early as 1978, we had what was called the Committee in Defense of Democracy, all the opposition parties. We had something called the Citizens Committee. These are all the civil society organizations and political parties. Later on, we had the PCD, the Patriotic. You can't fight against a dictatorship like this without an all opposition. And I'm not talking about the parliament. I'm talking about an all-opposition front outside of Parliament. Because the revolution will not be won. We are not going to win the next election in Parliament. We are going to win it outside of Parliament. And whenever people have seen a Norton and a Hines and others together, our people are energized. So, I am not saying political parties must not do their own work, but you have to give our people a sense that we are working on all fronts. We are working separately and we are working together. It lifts our people. It brings more votes. It brings more workers. It lifts the spirit of our people. But I can only speak for the WPA. I can't speak for the PNC. The PNC and its leader, they will have to answer that question. But I think it's a colossal error that we don't have a visible all-opposition, a joint opposition outside of Parliament. I think it's a colossal error.
We have an early caller. Caller, you'll have to hold the line a bit because there are two questions I need Dr. Hines to address before we even go there. The first question is, listen, the opposition is, or the lines between the opposition and the government to a large extent is blurred. When you talk about an all-opposition front, we have so many small parties that are quote-unquote in the opposition. How do you treat with those that we suspect are in bed with the PPP in this all-opposition?
When I talk about all-opposition, I'm talking about real opposition. I'm talking about AFC, WPA, PNC.
Good. And so that question has been answered. Is there anything stopping the WP from organizing for this all-opposition front as against waiting on the PNC?
I don't want to discuss that publicly.
Thank you. Call your life. Call your life. I didn't open the lines, but I noticed I won't set the calls coming, so I might as well go to the lines. Call your life.
Good morning, Dr. Hines. Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam.
Good morning, brother.
Dr. Hines, this is a little country boy. Along the same lines of discussion that you're having there, I have more questions than you or your time would allow to answer this morning. So I'm not going to ask you any question. I'm going to directly come to you as an elder, and you to Mr. Amsterdam. You're going to come in for your share beating too.
Where's the morning?
I've been listening, and I live my life through you and Dr. Hines, and I can safely say, without bearing a card, I am a WPA. So you guys can keep the card. You don't have to give me the card. I am a WPA. And I am asking this morning, when are we going to open the lines or open the contribution funds, which myself and many other callers have been calling for? Are we going to wait until the PNC started them? We need to front these people. We need to get in front of the PNC, in front of the PPP before they even think about election, to have an election fund established and been growing. We need to beg the people. We are begging. We're not begging not only because we want, we're begging because we don't have. WP, as far as I'm concerned, don't even have a vehicle. How are you going to go to places to spread your message? I see you, Dr. Hines, I see you driving your own vehicle. Kadaki, you drive your own vehicle. I don't know what Dion does. I don't know what Mr. Thomas does. But you guys driving your own vehicle. WPA doesn't have anything. I am putting it to you, Dr. Hines, this morning. You need to aggressively open the lines as of now and say we need a campaign fund. We need to beg these people. You went on critics the other day. Tell critics you need some money to fight against them. Tell Jack, we need some money to fight against them. All the Ricks and all them, we need that. I am going to make my contribution. I know you have Rhonda on the line. She's going to make her contribution. Everybody's going to make a contribution, but we need $100 million right now to start fighting these people. We need to put a number to it. We need to aggressively pursue it. And I'm saying it to you this morning. And you, Mr. Amsterdam, too, I think you're not doing enough to put it out there too. We need the fund to start now. I don't even care if you don't take another caller. I'm saying we need to open the lines now and tell the people we are begging for money. We're begging, we don't have it. So let's beg for the money and start now. Let's fund the PNC and approach the PNC too. Tell them we need money. We need to get monies now. That's my contribution this morning. I want to hear you speak about to it, Dr. Hines.
Thank you, caller. Dr. Hines.
Yes, and we are going to open that fund in another week or two, not more than 2 weeks. We are going to launch that fund very, very shortly. I'm also saying that I am back in North America now because I have to come back to work. I would rather be in Guyana. But I also want to say to listeners that I'm available to come to any part of America, Europe, to make appearances and to do fundraisers. Those of you who are supportive of me, of Kidaki, of the WPA, I am open. I notice the opposition leader is touring North America, and I think that's a good thing. I'm saying that I'm open to doing those kinds of engagements. I will pay my own way to come. So because I will be coming to speak directly to Guyanese and their friends, but also to raise resources. So I am open for those kinds of engagement, whether it be in America, in Canada, in Europe, in the Caribbean. I will make the time. So I want, in addition to the campaign fund that we are going to launch shortly, is to say that I am available to come to speak to communities. And people can organize that. You don't have to be, if you're a supporter of the WPA and supporter of us, by all means organize it. I don't mind coming to speak to 30 people, 40 people. It doesn't matter to me, and you may not be WPA, but you may like the work that I do, or Kidaki does, and we are open towards coming to parts of North America to speak to people, even if it's not a fundraiser. I am open to come in to contribute to that conversation.
Thank you, Dr. Hines. Caller, you're live.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning to all my black brothers and sisters. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Listen to the caller that called here. Please, don't beat up on Mr. Amsterdam. He's doing enough. He gets restless night and restless sleep. He's doing enough. And he cannot jump the bigger boss over him. There's the one. Opposite Mr. Amsterdam, tomorrow morning, establish this for us. Because let France Garden say this, but Mr. Amsterdam. People just go to Mr. Amsterdam and say, Mr. Amsterdam, I need help. And Mr. Amsterdam just announce it, say, yep, and Flash Garden just step up. If Mr. Amsterdam, what he could represent Flash Garden. When Mr. Amsterdam announced that he bought it coming up, and I asked him that even you all could buy a ticket and let your family come. I ain't hear no one, and Flash Garden bought 10 tickets. I ain't rich, but I believe what my grandmother tell me. Support, unite, and help your black brothers. Family can't cover family shame. And then Frank Gardner said, stop beating on leaders and do what you have to do. Do your best, caller, and lead the rest. You could step to Mr. Amsterdam, say, Mr. Amsterdam, I get $50,000, put it in the bank there, going towards a vehicle. Don't come and talk that. Frank Gardner don't like it. Now, to you, my big brother, Mr. David, I listened to that program there. Why it is that that CARICOM name, CARICOM body did not mention. Why I'm saying this to you, I'm asking you a question. Why you or the guy that interviewed or whatever did not mention CARICOM? CARICOM play a part in our election and put us through the door, encourage our president to do nonsense. Where are them now? Why nobody don't mention CARICOM? CARICOM need it now in Guyana because they come 5 of them for them. And one of them tell Mr. Granger, Step down with dignity. You always will be a next election. But when was he trying to step down with dignity? He said he don't want no people to come and overlook our election. He said plain, the Trinidadian people are bright enough to take care of the business. Answer my question. Why CARICOM name is mentioned in that interview? Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your call. I take my legs like a man. Oh Lord. Listen, y'all see me smiling. I usually tell you a smile or a laugh is not always funny, but sometimes it is so real or perhaps embarrassing that you cover it like that. Call your live, good morning. We missed that call?
Can I keep it before you take the next call? Let me just respond.
Okay, call all the line.
And CARICOM. And I apologize for that lack of omission this morning. Just to let Flash Gordon know, I appear on programs in the Caribbean at least once a week. And I deal with, sometimes I have more time to do a more comprehensive analysis. And then, issues like CARICOM come in and so on. But I do agree with Flash Gordon that that was a glaring omission this morning from the discussion. But to assure him that it's not usually an omission. Sometimes I get an hour to discuss things. Sometimes I get 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But I'm out there all the time in the Caribbean pushing our narrative. And of course I deal with other Caribbean issues. This past Saturday, for example, I was on Morgan State Radio in Baltimore. I had an entire hour to myself, and so I was able to deal with things more comprehensively. It's a program called the Caribbean Political Hour with Dr. David Hines, and I've been doing that from 1997 to now. So what, 26 years? It's a fixture in that part of North America. So I get an opportunity, thank God and thank the Guyanese people, that I'm recognized throughout the Caribbean as a quote-unquote expert in Caribbean politics. And so I get a chance to speak about Guyanese politics to a wider audience. Sometimes when I go to places like Antigua and Barbados and so on, people recognize me on the streets. Because I've been doing this over the years. So thanks, Flash Gordon, for mentioning that omission, and I shall make sure that I do better the next time.
Call your life. Thank you for holding.
Good morning. I want to echo what that first caller said about raising funds. I have said something about a conservative way to raise funds from the diaspora over here. I've raised it with opposition politicians. And you know what the pushback is over the leadership. But the leadership is the leadership. But what I know for sure, elections is coming, elections is constant. And regardless of who is there, when elections come, you need money. And they're not listening to people. So I'm glad if people, if WPA could run with that. $20 a month from 20 people, from 1,000 people for 2 years is going to give you $500,000. You understand? I don't see how they expect to raise funds by coming over here, one, holding fundraising dinner, when $1,000 gotta go to rental of that hall, you still gotta dish out money and give to the people who prepare stuff for you, and it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense because you can't hold a fundraiser dance every weekend. But you could get a $20 from 1,000 people every goddamn month end, right? You could get a $20, I'm sure. That's sure if you got 1,000 people that is committed to pledge that, they will do it. So that's the thing, WPA could run with it. I am ready to give y'all $240 a year because it's a waste. Look into my closet and I got things more than $240 that I ain't even putting on my back. I got to give it to Goodwill or somebody that I won't see the money, what that money is doing. So our people got to get sense and start raising money. Elections is coming, elections is money. Number two, Dr. Hines, I don't think that we should be giving critics, algorithms, any kind of oxygen. critics and Freddie Kissoon, I don't think that we should ever go and use their mic anymore, because there's nothing we could do with his audience. All we're doing is making his algorithms look good. He's spreading bigger. His numbers going to look good out there on YouTube and everything. So we should never be contributors to those people's algorithms. When you look at the comments, you could see these people are learning nothing from the food that you're feeding. That food that you're feeding, you should give it to our young people who are hungry to deal with issues, who are hungry for information and hungry for issues, to go out there and share that to other young people. Our thing can't happen on critics and Freddie Kissoon. So we should touch on them no more. That's my contribution.
Caller, before you leave, I expect you to WhatsApp me with your name, information, and your $240 information. And
yes,
I'm starting to take commitments. Dr. Hines says in 2 weeks, but I start now. So I'll call WhatsApp you with your commitments. 6225933. You know the number well by now. 6225933. Send me your commitments. Okay?
Yes.
Good. I will forward them to the relevant parties and ask them to follow up. I think that's a safe way for me. Good? Unless you disagree. Send me your commitments with instruction. I've modified my my instruction here. Good, thank you. Thank you for your call. Call Live, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, good morning. Are we aware that we in the opposition holds the power in Guyana at the moment? Reality check. The opposition has the power. The agents that's working for the PPP are predominantly Afro-Guyanese. We need to start reaching out to those agents. There must be a memorandum of understanding. We have to reach out. We are victimizing ourselves. You see it every day. We are the ones that is in charge, not the PPP. We got to focus internally. I am thinking and I'm looking at this situation from the outside, and we're doing it to ourselves. We have the power. We need to have our politician reach out. Higgins, all of these guys, regardless if you think they're dirty or they're nasty or they're stinking, you reach out to these guys and you tell them, listen, this is what will be for you in the future. We have to talk to them. These are our people. All right? So we got to start thinking differently. We got to stop focusing on the PPP. Focus internally. Bring the tribes together. That's my input. We got to start thinking differently. Love you guys. Later.
Thank you for your call. God, and so I see some people making statements on the live and so on. I welcome those statements, but I'd like to see them in my WhatsApp. Don't worry, according to them, you could even get at Legacy. We can make arrangements to collect your contributions. Call it live, good morning.
Good morning, Kadaki. Good morning, Dr. Hines. Good morning, all viewing this morning's program. I have two questions for Dr. Hines.
Caller, you have to turn on whatever you're listening to.
I have two questions for Dr.
Caller,
Hines.
you have to turn on what you are listening to. You have two devices. One is playing in the background. It's distorting your call.
I have two questions for Dr. Hines.
Caller, when you listen to the replay, you're going to hear what I'm saying. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. Understand that, like I keep saying, when you call the program, you have to have a one-way conversation with me. You can't be listening to your devices and speaking at the same time, because there's a delayed effect and there's also an echo effect and a feedback effect, so it makes the program distorted. Good? It's not me being rude for this to disconnect you. It is me being rude to, well, not him being rude, me dealing with the interferences on the program so it doesn't aggravate other people. Call it live, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you and good morning to Dr. Hines.
Now, Dr. Hines, I listened to you where some persons, at least one caller, like he was trying to rebuke you and not talking about CARICOM, something pertaining to that. Well, you know, if you get a bad taste in your mouth, like what we have had with CARICOM, in all way, when we used to go to CARICOM countries, we were not allowed to go in. We are in CARICOM. The 2020 elections, the recount, we are in CARICOM. They came. CARICOM came and told us what to do and what not to do. And they gave they told us what to do, and they did not live by their teachings. Anyway, we follow them. That is CARICOM. Mia Martley put us on the fat people country. God wasn't she? Used to put us on the bench. All is CARICOM. So if you're at the forum and you forget to mention CARICOM, nobody should not be annoyed, because what has CARICOM done for us? Just tell me. We can't go there and get jobs. We can't go around them with them. But the only thing, that's why I listened to the interview. Then he asked about the first thing that they see in Guyana now, that Guyana is a cash cow. That is the first thing with a little isle out in the ocean. So that's all the attraction and the love that CARICOM has to Guyana. Any other thing outside the isle in the ocean there, it is zero and it's sheer hatred. Now, yes, though is one of the points. The other points is with WPA and PNC. And as what I am seeing playing on the cards, I see it playing on the cards, it seems as though they will be. Because I don't feel that PNC should walk back to where they were with the other party. They could be within the palm, but we should not go back to get back to the same point that we are at, because if you keep returning all the time to your vomit, you are making no business. And I feel that the factions of WPA and the PNC should come together. And when it comes to like pooling our resources and coming together, it's really looking good, at least to me. I don't know about other people, that the two parties are coming together, because whenever you call Leader Norton to a function to stand on your stage, he is there. And if he didn't want a collated effect, I don't think he would have accepted that. Because I'm quite certain if in front call him, I don't think he would go. Now with the other thing with this thing, everybody must be up and about with that new thing that they are trying to uproot and overthrow ecology with. Because that's the same thing what they did. They had CDCs coming in to the NDCs. And when the CDCs came in to the NDCs, the CDCs were the people who gather all the land information and feed it to the beast. The CDC tried to uproot and destroy. We had them trying to intrude on our emancipation program, and I stood up with other people in the group, because you know me, and they had to take a place that is a step backward. So we have got to move up and see what we could do in coming together, where we could pool our resources, not only financial, but our physical and political resource, to stop the bleeding and the hemorrhage of what is going on in Guyana. Now this is to you, Dr. Hines. Sunday, I gave a little thing at the meeting. And lo and behold, somebody sent me it now to show that I am attacking the Muslim community. Now to the Muslim community, I have not said anything debasing you.
Because if you go into the Muslim faith, the women in the Muslim faith does not really have a play at the table with men. And if I decided to talk on something like that, because in this country, the installed president said that he got love for women and he got love for children. And if he had love for women and love for children, he would have rebuked, he would have disciplined his male members of his cabinet for first physical attack and verbal attack against women. And then the last thing, when you talk about children, you would not have sat down and watched 19 young women life lost in a gruesome fire, and a little girl who claimed she was raped, and the girl was raped. But because of the pressures of his male-dominated install regime, the girl had to try to abate and rescind what she said. But little does that girl know that if they mean to take that up in court, they could charge her for public slander and public mischief. Where is the love of a man who claims that he loves women and children? As a Muslim, has he shown it? So I don't care who say I'm attacking Muslim. It is a glaring fact. And once you got eyes to see, you will see. Kadaki, my show, I hear you announce it. It is still there. Bye-bye.
Thank you. There are several comments I'll make before Dr. Hines responds, if he's going to respond to anything here. First, let me remind you that the Denhamstel Majorettes has their 7th annual concert at the Denhamstel Community Center, and it starts 3 p.m. and it is going to be on this Sunday. All right, so Sunday 20th of August, the Denhamstel Majorettes present the 7th annual concert, Emancipation Concert, that is. The cost for entrance is $500, and you will enjoy skits, dances. There are lots of things to eat and drink at the bar, and African dishes will also be on sale. So go there and support Rhonda and the Denhamstel Majorettes. Now, in terms of the other things Rhonda spoke about, let me clarify. When the caller spoke about Dr. Hines not mentioning CARICOM, I gather that you were saying Dr. Hines did not mention CARICOM as part of the Guyana problem. Right? The Guyana 2020 election problem. It wasn't, the caller wasn't looking for quote-unquote a positive mention of CARICOM. He was really saying to Dr. Hines, yes, you highlighted some of the problems which affected the elections and what is happening in this country, but you have not named CARICOM as one of them, and CARICOM is one of them. Right? The other thing I wanted to say is, if you will take time to explain your actions to every Tom, Dick, Harry, and John, you ain't gonna get no time for yourself, Rhonda. Stand firm to what your beliefs are, and you speak your truth and you speak it clearly. That's all I have to say. So if every time you comment on a program or so, somebody is calling to tell you or sending you a message to say you attack this or you attack that or you attack the other, in short, what they're trying to do is get you to shut up. Dr. Hines.
Yeah, I heard Rhonda's comment on Sunday. I was there. She was not attacking Muslims. It is no secret that all religions have a woman problem. Christianity, Islam, religions come out of a patriarchal order, patriarchal lineage, and you know, she was just stating a fact. You know, you state a fact. Rastafarians who we love, they have a problem with women too. You know, they're doing better now. So no, Rhonda was not attacking Islam. And your thing on Flash Gordon CARICOM comment is in order. Rhonda, I bought 4 tickets. I get those funds to you. Please give those 4 tickets to 4 young people so that they can attend. I think it's 4 tickets you gave me. I'll check what it's for. But whatever the number of tickets you give me, please give them to people in the community that they can attend.
Listen, I try to, when I talk, I try to, I try not, when other people are on the call, I try not to let it echo. So I have to pull on the microphone. I don't ever remember it. But I was saying this, apart from the things I responded to in terms of Rwanda. I don't know if you heard me, but let me tell you what I said about Rwanda quickly. First, I said Flash Gordon. Well, you heard Dr. Hines respond to that, so I really don't need to go there. But Flash Gordon was really looking for Dr. Hines to say or to address the CARICOM role or the negative CARICOM role in impacting the 2020 elections. He has addressed that. To Rwanda, I was saying, listen, you can't explain yourself to everybody. And so if every time you make a comment, somebody sends you a clip to say you attack this person or that person or the other, in short, what they're trying to do is get you to shut up, and you should not allow them to intimidate you. It's free speech, is a democracy. So speak your truth and speak it clearly. Then finally I said this. I've heard comments, and it is a fact that Aubrey Norton, as leader of the opposition, leader of the PNCR or whatever, always makes time, or most of the times would turn up on a WPA platform if he is invited to speak on the WPA platform, or even when we organize as communities, as in the 1st of August movement, in the cultural evening we had and so on. He would come and he would speak and so on. A good indication that he's willing and ready to work with those of us of the WPA and so on. What I would like to see is reciprocity, right? I have not seen, I might be wrong, but I have not seen the opposite happening. Let's say that WPA people are constantly invited to be on the PNC's platform whenever they have public meetings and so on, as a show of camaraderie and so on. I have not seen that, and I am saying that I am aware that there is a lot of pressure out there on the PNC and on Aubrey Norton to distance themselves from the likes of Dr. Hines and Kidaki Amsterdam and the WPA, because it is the view of many that our message is not what they want to hear, because it's a message, in my mind, of liberation. The PNC and the Aubrey Norton must come to a stage, and I think sooner rather than later, where they say to the naysayers, we are not going to be cowed. We are not going to be cowed into distancing ourselves from the WPA, because they have a message that's relevant. And so I want to see that reciprocity. Caller, your life.
Parts in the WPA, how many more parties are in the coalition? I seem to think that it's only WPA alone. So Dr. Hines is in a position to answer that.
Dr. Hines, you have a question here?
He's asking how many parties in the coalition. Well, I think the known parties are the PNC, AFC, and the WPA. There are some other parties like the NFA of Keith Scott, Sister Sarabo as our party, Nation Builders, and so on, but they are not as well known. There's a gap, and I think Justice for All, I don't know where they stand. But the major parties in the opposition, that is minus the other so-called opposition parties that are on the other side, are the PNC, the AFC, and the WPA.
Thank you.
And Kidaki, before you go to your next caller, let me just say, I've been invited by Sister Shanika Haynes. She does a PNC program, I think, on Fridays. And she has invited me to go on that program. I've not been able to go because it is aired at the time when WPA has its statutory executive meeting, so I've not been able to go on the program. But just for the record, because when we're making criticisms, we have to tell the truth. I have been invited by Sister Shanika to go on that PNC program, but I have not been able to go because of conflict in scheduling. So I just want to put that on the record.
Thank you. Call A Live, good morning.
Yeah, bless good morning again, Mr. Kadaki and Mr. Hines. A bless good morning to you again. And once again to the Guyanese nation. Mr. Kadaki, I don't have to ask nobody if you and Mr. Hines is a blessing. I don't even have to ask you nor Mr. Hines. I am telling you and Mr. Hines, and I'm telling this whole nation that you are a blessing. Mr. Hines is a blessing. Mr. Kadaki, your program is a blessing to this nation. And I'm saying directly also to the PNC. I am not no politician. And people like me who are not holding to a party is what Mr. Hines also is reflecting about. And I gravitate to the AFC in such a way because what you are saying make a lot of sense and is very, very brilliant and is very, very wise. And so it is educating everybody across the entire in and out of Guyana. And what I am saying and what I'm explaining here is that Mr. R.B. Norton is very well aware of that. And some people in the PNC party who don't want the togetherness, they are very foolish to think in that way because the togetherness is what is the only way you can win the election against the PPP. Because you got to get the AFC on board because they play a lot. I tell them over and over and I tell this nation, every single chain is as strong as the weakest link. The AFC is a link of the party, the PNC, and everything joined together. And what I'm saying, even what Mr. Kadaki said, 1 or 2 times, Mr. Norton, it's going to be strange for you, but invite them also, the AFC, for talk and deal at your little program or a little speech on the place and all this kind of thing. Because if you look clearly, you see nothing from the APNU goes over and the sanction and it. I am a citizen of Guyana. And I have learned a lot from all the parties, them. Whether be it right or be it wrong, I make my decision and my assessment. And the AFC is so wise, is so helpful. I mean, you may not have the material things to carry you along as the PNC, but still you are very, very effective.
Caller.
There's no way.
Caller.
Hello?
I think you're mixing the WPA and the AFC. I think you're intending to say the WPA.
Oh, sorry,
let's clarify.
The WPA. sorry, the WPA. Thanks very much for that correction. And that's why I love about you. You're there to correct or to, because you understand what I'm saying. But I call the wrong party. So thanks for that correction. And so this is where it comes in. So Mr. Hines and Mr. Kadaki, you all are a blessing. Me asking y'all, and I don't have to ask the AP and you don't have to ask Mr. RB. Not. I am making a decision and many people like me. So without y'all party supporting the APNU, it's highly hard and impossible for the election to be really win against the PPP. And you know it, and there's a reason why y'all are supporting, because y'all know, but you need to be treated in a respected way. And I understand that, and by right. So don't worry, the couple of people there, Mr. R.B. Norton, who may not be supporting in your party to be with the WPA. I don't basis if they supported them. We are the citizens, we are the people who want to be voting, and we are saying that you got to work along with the unity. What you're doing is right. Continue on that road and we will win the next election. Look what they are doing. Look what they're doing, Mr. Ben. You know why they try to push that man out? Look what they do with the Public Service Union. And the call who said before, but we should link up with the assistant, the commissioner, the acting commissioner, or his commissioner, whoever he is now. He should understand the commissioner hearing, seeing, and he knowing the truth. But he's running from the truth and he's supporting what the PPP government is going on with. So how can you carry your ass to the well and beg it drink any water? He's there and he's hearing. And look, here the public complaint authority said, the judge is saying that this man is flouting even the rules that is supposed to be there with the complaint authority. He know what he's doing. But if he want to be a stooge for the PPP or Mr. Ali, how can anybody outside go and bargain what with him? You do not bargain with the devil and bargain with the devil in hell. You bargain with the devil for nothing. You defeat the devil because you stand up for what is right. All the Christians them know and people worship them. You gotta worship in spirit and in truth. And Rhonda, this is what you're doing. Mr. Kadaki, this is what you're doing. Mr. Ainsley, what you're doing. And all the guys, this nation who's getting fight down, that is what we are doing. They don't respect the law, the constitution. They're flaunting having the president disrespecting it. So Guyanese, we're going to get there if we stand up for what's right and stand up in righteousness. Once again, God bless the WPA. Continue to support the APNU. I know, Mr. Hines, I know where's your vision, and you know that y'all ain't going to make it without the PNC, and the PNC not going to make it without y'all. So all two y'all are very important, and the rest of the parties. God bless this nation. We got to work together. We are going to get there by the grace of God, but the respect must due. Have a blessed day, Guyanese. We will get there.
Thank you, caller. So we have, let me remind you that there's a vacancy, right? There's a vacancy for someone who understands meat to work in a butcher shop, right? In need of someone to work in a butcher shop, the person must know the different cuts of meats. And if you're interested, you can call 609-2049, right? 609-2049. If you're interested in working in a butcher shop, as I would say, as a butcher shop attendant, you must know the cuts of meats and so on. And you can call that number for further information. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Neighbor, morning, neighbor, morning. Dr. Hines, a pleasant new day to you, big brother.
You put in a 12 cents meatball, you was on a lice. I going to give you a word of advice. Take your meat out my rice.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the West Ramvelt Market Meat section. Call us on 609-2049. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop brings you the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
Comes out your son. You burn the swine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, 'cause them heart no kind. Comes, I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, Red Hat.
Morning, welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, D. Buxtonian, Kidaki, Amsterdam. It is now 7 hours 37, that's 23 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour on the 21st day of August in the year 2023. Yes, welcome to the program. How was your weekend? How was your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and today? Because the weekend isn't done yet, for some people. Some people hangover, still boozed from the weekend, and so the weekend has continued into today. But nevertheless, how was your weekend? How was your last week in general? Did you make some money last week? Lots of money. Made some money over the weekend. Were you able to pay your bills? Were you able to provide adequately for your family? How did you make out? What about some recreation, rest and recuperate? Were you able to go out and have a social hour somewhere, somehow? Relax. Here's a pal morning. How you doing? How y'all doing? Welcome to the program. I hope you're rejuvenated this morning and that you're really raring to go. Remember, next week this time, that's next Tuesday, we're heading to GCOM, in front of GCOM. I've decided that we should do it from 12 o'clock. So from 12 o'clock next Tuesday, let's go in front of GCOM and sound the alarm that we still need a clean voters list and we need biometrics. Because without a clean voters list and biometrics, the possibility of a rigged election is more than 100% certain, right? But with a clean voters list back up with biometrics, that possibility can be reduced by 90, 95, 90, 99% perhaps, right? No system is 100% foolproof. Let us always keep that in mind. But the aim is to reduce the possibility of fraud. And so we must strive to take every effort, make every step to reduce the possibility of fraud. Right? Good. Let's keep that in mind. So I asked last week and I'm asking again, kindly please and thanks. Start organizing your teams of 10. Each person bring 10 to the protest line. I don't think it's difficult for each of us to get 10 persons to come along with us. I hope not. Right? If you can bring 10 persons to the protest line, then we should be able to make some numbers out there. Because numbers matter. Right? Numbers matter. Don't let anybody sit back and relax and say, I can watch it on social media and I can support from social media. I, for a fact, I'm telling you right now, on Tuesday, I don't have any intentions of broadcasting live from in front of GCOM. So don't tell yourself you're going to sit on your couch and follow what's happening. You might get a report after. But I'd rather see people in flesh and blood in front of GCOM next Tuesday. Let's do that. Right? It's been a long time we haven't gone out there together. Let's do that. I'm ready to do that again. And whether or not I continue is dependent on what you do. Because like I keep saying, we have to stop expecting one set of people to be out there fighting the fight for each and every one of us to benefit. Don't get like the Bajan. Don't make a guy tell you take your meat out my rice. Good? And as I'm talking about that, let me make a correction to that advertisement. It is the East Rhineville Market, not West. It's the East Rhineville Market. You know to get there, right? When you get to the outpost, you turn into the corner there, and it's a stone's throw away, according to my understanding. I usually tell people I don't know Georgetown geography. Lose me on the East Coast, I might find my way. But Georgetown? Yes, so welcome to the program. Oh, let me remind you also that on Friday evening, starting around 6 o'clock, we have Kwekwe. Kwekwe at Club Twilight. We're focusing on the culture. And so Friday night, we're going to be featuring Kwekwe. Again, come out with your friends and family and so on, and come, especially them young people, bring them out. A lot of people learn by doing or by seeing. It's not always good enough to sit down and tell them, we got a thing named Kwekwe. Or we used to have a thing named Kwekwe, because quite frankly, it's a dying art form, it's a dying cultural practice. Right? You know, as times change, everything changes. Kwekwe is wedding eve. Kwekwe used to be held the night before the wedding. Nowadays, the young people tell you they all in Kwekwe the Thursday night for Saturday wedding. Or 2 and 3 nights before the wedding, because they got too tired after the Kwekwe. I say they ain't able to be tired after the Kwekwe. So they all in it 24 and 48 hours before the wedding. I'm not sure that is in keeping with the culture. A lot of us don't understand why we do a lot of things. And a lot of the older folks are not around to teach us the significance of doing a lot of things. Good? Why do you leave the hall by 12 o'clock? Why brides and grooms are supposed to leave the halls by 12? Who's calling now? Right? Why? Those are some of the things that, we have to get an understanding of. And don't just walk wild. And the only way our young people are going to get an understanding of those things is if we teach them. Some people learn by seeing and doing. Others can sit and hear and they will understand. So come down to Kwekwe on the 25th, right here at Club Twilight, and have a jolly good time. It's going to be Brian Chester and the old Kwekwe massive, as we like to say, from Buxton. Lots of drums and everything. So even if you want to come for the drums alone, come for the drums. Good? As I'm talking about that, Club Twilight is looking for a professional bartender, a waitress, and a kitchen assistant. Right? If you know of anybody who is looking for a bartending job, they must know themselves, cocktails and so on. Refer them to Club Twilight. They can call me on 6225933, and let's start the process from there. So if you're looking for a bartending job, 6225933 is the number to call, and I'll hook you up with Club Twilight. Waitress, and kitchen assistant. Right? So those are 3 vacancies existing at Club Twilight. Call me on 6225933 and I'll give you the necessary link up. Yeah, Sandra Nova is right, you know. Soon people will get married online. I'll tell you a story before I move on. So the vacancy for the butcher has been filled. Right, so somebody heard the advertisement here and responded. And so the butcher shop now has a butcher. Right? And so if you are looking for the best cuts in meat, you can go to T&W. That's the same advertisement, T&W Butcher Shop in the East Rhineville Market there. Good? If you were to call 609-2049, you will get to Rastaman. Or you can ask for Rastaman, 609-2049. Right? And Rastaman will give you any advice you need as to how to find T&W Butcher Shop or what they have in stock. But I know currently they have fresh cuts. Beef, chicken, mutton, pork, chicken foot, and stuff like that, right? Cow face for your sauce and things. Check out T&W Butcher Shop in East Rhineville Market. Good. Now let's get to today's business. What are we talking about today? I want us to continue that conversation that we had with Dr. Hines last Wednesday, basically, about preparation for the elections and partnerships and partnering for the elections and so on. I saw somebody be careful of who you take your advice from. Parmesh Dionarine says that the WP has to go to the next election independently. Right? WP has to go to the next elections independently. I'm not speaking for WP, I'm speaking like I always do or most times do from my own personal perspective. And I think I saw Hazel Pyle. Did I see Hazel Pyle? Hazel Pyle saying, Hazel Pyle said, yes. Hazel Pyle said, listen, all political parties must come together to win the next election. Good? And so I'm saying in short to you that I agree with Hazel Pyle and Hazel Pyle agrees with me. I sit on the executive of the Working People's Alliance. Hazel Pyle sits on the executive, well, they don't call it executive, I think Central Executive Committee or something of the PNC. And so even if the quote-unquote major leaders don't agree, at least Hazel Pyle and I agree that we need a coalition in this country to remove the PPP. And quite frankly, I'll tell you this. In my mind, in the history of this country, it has always taken coalition politics to change the status quo. It has always taken coalition politics to change the status quo. When it was Forbes Burnham and the PNC, they were in office for about 28 years. It was coalition politics that removed them. It may not appear so to a lot of people because at the end of the day, it was the PPP that was in office. But you see, the PPP did a nasty thing. I will call it nasty. They waited until all of the work was done, until all of the international pressures were brought to bear true to the coalition's approach. In that time, you had PCD, Patriotic Coalition for Democracy. I think you had Guard Movement. You had a number of political party and civil organizations coming together, pooling their resources, brain power, and everything else to fight the PNC in office. And when the PPP recognized, Janet Jagan, Chedi Jagan, when they recognized, here, democracy as they deem it was now at the door, they broke up that guard movement. They broke up the PCD, they broke up the unity, what should I call it, configuration that they had. And that is how they ended up with Sam Hines and what they call the Civic. Because after they destroyed the white coalition of political parties and civil organizations for their own selfish gains, because they wanted to be in power singularly, they eventually formed a stupidness they call the Civic. Sam Hines was the last surviving Civic member as far as I know. Because everybody else, after recognizing what was happening, they abandoned ship. So it took coalition politics to remove the PNC from office. And so if you look at that, and you look at the years that follow, the next time a political party that was in government was removed from government was through coalition politics again. The first indication that coalition politics was necessary to remove the PPP from office was when the WPA and the PNC came together. Give thanks to Robert Corbyn, the then leader, and Rupert Rupnarine, Clive Thomas, Desmond Trotman, and the others from the WPA, who recognized then and agreed that, listen, the only way we can get these wretches and crooks and vagabonds out was through coalition politics. And they set their differences aside. And they formed the APNU, a Partnership for National Unity. And in the first go, as a Partnership for National Unity against the PNC, against the PPP, sorry, the PPP ended up being a minority government as far as I remember. Because you had the AFC standing alone by itself, the AFC was by itself, and the APNU was by itself. And they, together as opposition parties, had a majority in the parliament. I think that might have been 2011. They had a majority in parliament. And they forced the Donald Ramotar government to prorogue parliament. Y'all remember that? Because basically the AFC, I think, was saying, listen, unless you allow us in the opposition to have an input into the budget, etc., we are not going to pass it. We are going to leave you without a budget. Unless you come to the table and let's govern this country together, let's bargain and govern this country together, you're not going to be able to do it alone because we will not pass your budget. And instead of Ramotar being nationalistic, as I would say in his thinking, he was thinking PPP. We're superior to them. We ain't going to join forces with them. We ain't going to even sit with them to run the manage the matters of this country. And so instead of that, he did what? He prorogued the parliament. And following the prorogation of parliament, he had to call elections within a certain time frame. And that is how they lost the 2015 election. Right? Because by that time, the AFC recognized the importance of coalition politics. And so while they were saying all the time, we will never join the PNC, or we will never join APNU at that time, common sense prevailed, or somebody with common sense prevailed, and they decided, okay, we can think. Of course, the negotiations were had. By then, Nagumoto had left the PPP for whatever reason. I can't remember the exact reason, but there was a falling out between Nagumoto and the likes of Jagdeo at the PPP. and negotiations ensued, and so Nagamoto was named as the prime ministerial candidate. And together, the APNU plus AFC formed the coalition and they won the 2015 election. The rest is history, quite frankly. Right? The rest is history, quite frankly, because you know what happened. You know the betrayal by Charan Das. Some people extend it to the AFC. But the coalition government fell. What do I fear or fall means in the 2020 elections? And so I'm saying that the blueprint is already out there. How do you remove the PPP from office? Through elections. By forming a coalition. But you don't just form a coalition and win an election. You have to form a coalition and do work to win an election. Because you have to sell the coalition. And when I say sell the coalition, I'm not saying sell it to your opponents. I'm saying you have to do the necessary work to make people believe in the prospects of the coalition winning the next election. You have to sell the coalition. You have to let people understand the necessity for the coalition, why the coalition, and bring them to a place where they will support the coalition and support it overwhelmingly. When do you do that, or how do you do that? You need time to do that. There are many viewers here who are saying the APNU must never again coalesce with the AFC. The APNU must never again work with the AFC. They must shut them out, leave them in the cold. Trust me, the voices of those people are important, and it is important to convince them that despite the grouses that we may have with the AFC, it may be for the national interest to work with the AFC. Harsher bargaining, stricter monitoring, yes, I certainly believe we need that. Less rewards than they previously got, yes, I certainly believe they need that. But to totally shut out the AFC, I think it's a mistake we're going to make. Every shoulder to the wheel is necessary to remove the PPP from office. I always remember in, I think it was mathematics, or what we call that, admats, physics or chem, one of those technical subjects. I remember being told that the sum of the parts is greater than 1. The sum of the parts is greater than 1. So individually, we have our challenges. But together, we overcome and we surpass those challenges. Because everybody brings a special energy. And so it's necessary to harness all of the political energy to confront the PPP and get them out of office. We can't wait until the 11th hour to do it. We have to start doing it since yesterday. We are behind time. We are late getting out of the blocks. And so those of you who have the ears of the political parties and the political leadership and so on, stop whispering in the ears and start shouting. Get up. It's time to get ready. It's time to do work. Because, like somebody pointed out, the PPP never rested after losing the 2015 election. Never rested. They got back to the drawing board and they were in campaign mode immediately after. The coalition has had, this is 3 years since they were forced out of office. There are some elements of the coalition or some elements of the opposition that we can say are in campaign mode. They have been working the ground. But I'm not convinced that enough. a large enough number of elements from the opposition are working the ground and are doing what needs to be done. We have to start doing the work now. And we have to do it in partnership. Let us not reinvent the wheel. Let us not work at odds or cross purposes. By now, every opposition, every opponent of the PPP should have been sitting in a room someplace, strategizing how to remove them from office and dividing up the work according to people's strong suit. Right? That is what we have to do. And so I'm calling this morning for all those of you who got people who the politicians listen to. Stop whispering in their ears. Shout so that they understand the time is long past for elements of the opposition to sit and craft a plan together to get rid of the PPP. The PPP tries to give you the impression that, listen, what Dr. Hines and Kidaki Amsterdam and Lincoln Lewis and Rick Ford Bork and so on are saying doesn't make sense. I saw Clement Roti, Cement Roti, the bicycle man from Metropole Cinema, saying that these guys don't make sense. Nobody listens to them and so on and so forth. But yet still he is taking the time to pen a letter to the press to identify us and try to chastise us. So while he is listening, he is saying to others, don't listen to them. They don't make sense. I want you to draw sense out of nonsense there. Be careful of who you take your advice from. Be very careful of who you take your advice from. Like Parmesan, whatever his name, who said the WPA should go it alone. That's not some political advice. I am saying that and I'm saying it now. And I'm standing by it. I will stand by it until the end of the next elections. That is not sound political advice. No political party in the opposition should be attempting to go it alone. Right? And then in Champaign-Collison, we're going to be at odds here this morning. All members of the coalition must bring countable votes. How do you know what each member can and will bring, Dennis? You see, it's a mistake that David Granger made in 2022. Or even in 2015 after winning the elections. He was brash in saying that the small parties didn't bring much. How do you know what the small parties brought? How can you determine the votes that the small parties brought or not brought? You see, in team there is no I, and so in a coalition, you can't tell people that you're smaller than I am. And so you don't have the impact that I have. Trust me. I'll share two things with you. And then I perhaps will open up the lines so we can continue this discourse. There are many who argue across this country that the WPA is not a big vote-getting party. WPA can't win no election on their own. People argue that. I'm saying that the PNC can't win any election on its own. It might be bigger than the WPA, but it can't win any elections on its own. And so the WPA needs the PNC as much as the PNC needs the WPA. If the cost for any item is $100, you can't get it with 99 cents. You can't get it with $99. And so the man who brings the dollar to make it $100 is just as important as the man who brings $99. Keep that in mind. And so let's not run away with this nonsense. Each party must bring countable votes. Every party brings needed votes, whether you like it or not. All of the people who are disoriented, who are disgruntled with the PNC and so on, the work of the WPA must have influenced a lot of them in some way, shape, or form and cause them to reconsider staying away from the polls, cause them to reconsider going across the other side, cause them to reconsider abandoning the PNC. I can tell you that I've seen that. Right on the program, you hear people say, thank you, Mr. Amsterdam and Dr. Hines, for these programs. You've changed our minds politically because we were ready to give up. So every party matters. Despite how small and insignificant you may see them, they have an impact. A lot of people are disgusted by politics because of the behavior of politicians and so on, or political activists and so on, especially from the larger parties. But when certain political actors from the smaller parties act, they influence those people because they give them hope. They give them hope. The PNC does not address black people's issues as frontally as those of us in the WP. And so those people who are of the opinion that the PNC is not doing enough for black people get hope when they see the work that those of us over the Working People's Alliance are doing. So every party brings votes, whether you want to call it countable or not. Lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. Let's talk about that. And let's start gearing ourselves for next Tuesday. The lines remain open. Caller is supposed to call it WhatsApp. Can you do that? The same number you're calling, but you have to call it through WhatsApp. Thank you. Yeah, the lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call, and you're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. Caller live, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. Happy morning to you guys. A quitter is not a winner, and a winner is not a quitter. To my black brothers and sisters, don't give up. Moon was run till they catch it. The longer show up have an end. Bucket does go well one, he pattern, they'll drop out. And the one with flat garden love, cow don't know the good use of the tail until he miss it. We did not know how born them. The good things he done for us by knowledge, and make sure we keep our dignity. Because before born I'm dead, it's only flash garden. Remember this saying. Don't get involved in other country problem, and don't make other problem. Don't make other country come and take care or get involved in our problem. Desmond Prasad, he want to make history for himself. He went to the White House. What Guyana benefit by he going to the White House? We benefit 23 years punishment. David Granger, listen to the CARICOM. We punish him 3 years and after because they want to make name for themselves. Let me talk politics this morning. God make Mr. Hamilton Green still alive because he tell Desmond Prasad, call up election. Black people not get for vote in Georgetown. All them name them Mackenzie and Barbies. He said no. When black man said no to black man, Kuliman just said yes. Chawada said yes to Kuliman. And what happened to black man? David Green again. Hamilton Green tell him call up election. Look what coming out of these boxes. You still have power. You still a president. He said no. Black man are punished and more punishing than Desmond Prasad time too. We got to learn to come together and stop saying what you bring to the party and small table. This small party, they bring your family. They bring neighbors and friends. One vote was win election because PPP get 89 and the coalition get 90. The coalition win. Thank you very much to repeat and to say this morning, because Flash Garden was saying all the time, it is time for Mr. Abinathan, old Mr. David Einstein said from today, we will take back Guyana and set and bring Guyanese people out of bondage, especially black people, and explain why he must do that. I said, make that phone call to WPA for David Hines and come together. Because Bonham did it. I mentioned it over and over in your program. I said Bonham did it. But I could not remember the party name. And Bonham knocked them out of office. The same thing have to happen again. But not with AFC. AFC is a disaster from the day them come out and fool them young ones. Said them go change Guyana. Them go do what? Do what? They got a turn around and still join the PNC. Let me say one thing more before I go. That's why sometimes some of us need a little bit more time. Especially when you're talking, you should make things make sense. Why I say it's time for Mr. David Prasad or Armand Prasad or Ramadan, they make a phone call and set up a meeting. Let G come, the same 4 or 5 that came to G, come there, G come get the building there, use it, and show them all evidence. What's going on? And it's their time for tell David Coalition now, yes, they must get biometric. They must get a change for the list because that causing the problem all the time. That is what I mean. Somebody got to be man and stop taking licks as a man and do the right as a man. Call G come, carry come. We still in carry come body until we get out of them. Let them come and fix it now. Let them come and talk on the behalf of us, black people. This I always say talk off and let back off. Time to go. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your call. You see, and that is why I sometimes engage. A lot of people ask sometimes why I even bother responding to comments and so on. But I like the engagement. Sometimes you teach by engagement. Dennis Champagne is saying she never said that small parties don't matter. But the small parties must work just as hard as the major party. The small parties must not be just a part of the coalition for position alone. Again, I'm repeating what I said. Many people see the small party as not equal to the big party or do not bring as much to the big party. But the little that the small party brings matters. Right? And to say they must work just as hard, hard work for me is, I don't know, I'm looking for, it's relative. Let me say it's relative. It depends on who is talking about hard work and from what point of view you're seeing hard work. Right? Ramjatam will tell you it's hard work to convince 10 Indo-Guyanese to vote for the coalition. David Hines will tell you it's hard work to convince 10 Afro-Guineans who said that the coalition in power did not do anything for them to vote again for the coalition. Or we not will tell you that it is difficult work to convince 10 folks in the PNC that they should be in a coalition. So what really is hard work? All work is hard work. I never hear about easy work. You tell anybody I say that. And especially in politics. All work is hard work. And every little that each party could bring to the table matters. Call it live. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki and listeners. Here's my little contribution to the incoming elections. We should not have been waiting for the results of any petition. We should have hit the ground running, right? It doesn't make sense for us to put all our eggs in one basket. It doesn't make sense at all. Okay, there was a little space of time. Then we had local government elections. From the time we won those particular areas, which are strongholds of the opposition party, we should not have let time elapse. That would have been the time when we should pick up on our movement and things like that. But we started nicely, but then now, to me, like it gone dead again. I agree with you in that we need to step up and what we have to do. A meeting is good. Perhaps every party can choose all the persons who would like to be, because it's all good to invite people to be part of the coalition, but as if they would like to be part of the coalition. So we all come together and decide which area we will deal with. For me, WPA is focusing, and they're very successful as far as I'm hearing, with educating our people and pricking our awareness as to what is happening. The politicians, there are some politicians that are killing the vibe. I think for me, PNC, those persons should step out. Mr. Norton, and I mean that's my boy, but Mr. Norton should get rid of some of them because they're not working. They're not working. What is the sense? The people's money are paying them and they're not delivering. It doesn't make any sense at all. For me, Mr. Norton has to be a bit more bold with those persons who are not on track. He needs to go there. Where Mr. Granger is concerned, after the last election, I was sick for 2 weeks. That's how passionate I am about Guyanese politics. Sick for 2 weeks, went on an alcoholic binge for a couple of days and swore I would not be a part of Guyanese politics anymore. But then when I started listening to the programs, it gave me hope. You know, so at the end of the day, we have to work together. And like I say, every one of them, nobody's perfect with this coalition. Every one of them have a part to play. And the ones who ain't playing a part should step off the boat and let people who are willing to work. That's my contribution for this morning.
Thank you, caller. Yeah, a lot of people, you know, I'll take it lightly, like I said, and like this caller just said. The work that Dr. Hines and I and others of the WP have been doing over the last few years and so has had its own impact and will continue to have its own impact. But there's still people can tell you that WPA can't win no election on their own, WPA can't attract votes, and WPA can't this and WPA can't that. You know, WPA was saying, listen, we are not partaking in the local government elections because we know it's going to be fraudulent and so on. But we helped AP and UPNC candidates to win their constituencies. The man who got the most votes in the Buxton area here in local government elections is somebody that I was providing guidance to. Right? You don't have to jump up and shout. You don't have to be out there and so on. You quietly work with people because you know that here, at the end of the day, this thing concerns all of us. But people can tell you, the NCWPA partake in the local government election because what? They can't win no election, they can't track votes. We took a principled position. But despite taking that principled position, we recognize, listen, there are those who are going into the elections and it is important that they win. And so how do you support them to win despite the fact that you're not partaking? You have to have a bigger politics. Every little that each brings to the table is important to cross that threshold. Call A Live, thank you for holding.
Yes, good morning, Kadaki, and good morning to all listeners. Like you, I was listening to you earlier and what you said when you was introducing the topic for today. I endorse everything because exactly is what we need to do. And I was waiting for the time when we are going to say, listen, we need to talk coalition because it is very important. But before I say a little about that, hats off to all those who can come out publicly and call a spade a spade. Hats off to all those people. I mean, I'm speaking across the board, generally across the board in Ghana. All those people, the Indian people, the African, and even a couple of Amerindian, whoever, those come out and call a spade, which means talk about the situation in Guyana as it is and say the truth. And so coalition is very, very important. From my young age as a little boy growing up, now I'm 60 years old, and from that stage to now, I realized that Guyana would never get good unless the Indian and the African people work together. And that is a national thing. That is patriotism. And a lot of people are not patriots for the country. They sell out. They sell out internally because even to the party that some of them vote for, the party end up and kick them aside and does not rule in a patriotic way for Guyana. You know, coalition is very, very important. Very important because the PPP recognized that at the last election. And that's why I think all those small parties came up from around the side. None of them support the main coalition. All of them went to support the PPP at the end, remember? So coalition is important. The PPP realize that they are not favored by the people, so they try to make parties. They try to bring up little parties here and there that will support them, will give them an extra seat and so on at the end. So, and there are a few people in each and every party who I think is selfish. And selfishness is not going to get us anywhere. It's not going to get us anywhere. And in every party there is traitors. Every party have traitors. So you can't blame one man for the whole party. You have to look at what the party is doing. You can't blame one man for the whole party. So saying this, I'm saying again that coalition is very important. Very important. And we should start campaigning for the next election already. There's no time to waste because we have to bring a lot of people aware of what is the importance of coalition and what it really is. And the last thing I want to say, when the victory comes, We're not supposed to push this party or that little party aside. We should be equally engaged throughout the whole running of the country. When the victory comes, we should equally be engaged in the running of the country equally. I mean, in terms of having our say, because every little party is important. You might be the WPA party, and you might just get 2 seats or even 1 seat, but because of your campaigning caused somebody who used to vote for the PNC go out and vote back for the PNC. They might be, like you were saying, people might say, okay, I'm not going to vote anymore, but because of your campaigning, showing people the importance of voting, they go out and they vote for the party, they go back to the PNC or wherever they go to the AFC or whatever, or they come over to your party. So coalition is very important. Keep on doing the good work, Kadaki, and all the rest. We wish you all the best. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, caller.
Yeah.
We have voice notes too, right? Caller live, good morning. I think I lost that one. Caller live, good morning.
Yeah, bless good morning to you, Mr. Kadaki, and the rest of the Guyanese nation. Mr. Kadaki, I tell you, I really admire how you speak, and you speak real wisely. I am going to convince this nation with what I'm saying because I am an evidence to what you are saying. I personally says I know myself, I vote for the PNC all through. I am not no politician. I don't follow the politician, but I think from the assessment that they were more suitable and they are more suitable for the nation. But when certain things in the past started giving me a little down courage and a little frustration because they let us down in the last election where they should have deal with the opposition, which was the PPP them for the things they had done to the nation, and they didn't do it. And so I was a little frustrated, a little down. And many people, I associate with many young men and many people. And many was affected and offended in the way. But then when you look at it, a party like your party, the WPA, and some of the AFC and different other party, but especially I'm talking about the WPA right now, it encouraged people, it built back the morale, it built back the desire for people to have a hope that still, man, there's existence. Because I used to listen to Mr. Hines, and Mr. Hines always used to try to encourage the AP and your leaders, them, man, y'all go this way, the people them on the ground is this and blah, blah, blah. But they didn't take the advice then. But now, even to this extreme now, it means that they're going to learn from their mistake. Hopefully, they're supposed to learn from their mistake. So your party is as valuable, I keep telling people, it is as valuable as a chain as strong as the weakest link. And so every link on the chain is valuable, and so the WPA is very, very valuable because y'all help build back confidence. Y'all help build back the assurance because you know why? Y'all are with the AP and you, and it help give back people hope. It help give back people courage and watch. Hope is still there inside of the coalition. And that is how the coalition is going to come and defeat the PPP anyhow in any way. All the parties has to come together. All the parties has to continue to work for the betterment of the nation. So the small party is really, really encouraging, even when the bigger party fail them. So fail the people who are paid to fail the people. So everyone got to come on board. And for my Indian brothers and sisters and the rest of this nation, there are many Indians don't support with this PPP government going on with. Or sometimes they're running the racial form of religion and all these things. And I want the nation for what, for example, India, for example, look, India is over 1.4 billion in population. This is the world's largest amount of humanity in a country, for a country. Mr. Modi took over, the Prime Minister, he took over about 2014 or something like that. And if you look and see what's going on right now in India, Israel is say Indian, yes, but then they are fighting in a religious form. Over 400 something churches at the present moment now we are talking. Christian churches have been burned down and breaking down. It's going on right now in India. And what I'm saying, these are Indians that are clashing because of religion. And the same similar thing in Guyana. Now in Guyana, now there are many Indians is not supporting what the PPP government is going on with. Or what the India may try for support or whatever. We're not going into racial form, but then these are example and pattern that we got to take note of because the PPP government is taking a lot of chip from India, and we can look there and get a reflection of what is yet to come or may come to our nation, and we don't want that. So for my rest of Indian brothers and sisters, we all know that you all may not support the PPP and what they're going on with, but because of the race and the race card they're playing, then you might want to vote for them or stand up for them. But we are begging you for the betterment of this nation, for the safety of Guyana and our descendants and our children. Let us next election, let us vote in accordance to righteousness. We see what this PPP government is doing for this nation. They are only building infrastructure, and what on with us, the citizen? What on with our children? What on with the future of our generation? We need that to be built. That's the most valuable asset in any country, the citizen. Whether we are Indian or we are black, we need each other. The Indian need to love the black need to love the Indian, and we need to respect and value each other. The WP is teaching that, not because they say about the African race. The African race being marginalized is the fact, and it's the truth. But they are speaking love, they are speaking togetherness, they are speaking unity, they are not speaking no division. And this is what the AP and U is for. So let us vote the next election, not just to win the election, but you want the majority of seat in parliament. That's what the PP do the last election, you know. They wasn't voted to win the election campaign. They had won the majority of seats, and that's why they're changing and amending constitution, do what the hell they want to do. Now we are suffering, Indian and African. We all are suffering. They are putting in infrastructure. We know the country need the infrastructure. But then many of us, how we going about it? How we train them eating? On the market, look the price. Anyhow, Mr. Kadaki, God bless you. Guyanese nation, God bless you. And please, Indian brothers and sisters, let us work together. And all the opposition party, you have come together. We must win the next election. We can't afford to go through Guyana like this again. Have a blessed day, Guyana. We will get there if we live for right and work together. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, caller. Call your life.
Yeah, good morning. The opposition needs to do the Glenn Lal formula right now. They got to start now. They got to hit the streets. They got to tell the Guyanese the promises that is going to come true when they getting there. They got to start doing the hard work now. The opposition is like more in a lull right now. They're relaxing, they're chill. This is a time to start doing the work. House to house, everybody on the streets. Tell them they're going to get that 1 million every year or every month to help them out. Talk to the people. They got to get out there now. The work got to start now. You got to do the Glenn Lal formula. That's what I want to say. They got to do the work. They relax. Everybody relaxing right now. Now is not the time to relax. Love you guys. Later.
Thank you for your call.
Good morning, Kadaki. My contribution is simply this.
Caller, like, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Caller, you like,
Hello?
good morning.
Yes, my contribution to the program this morning, I would like the caller before this last one that speak of working together with the coalition, and you agree with it, with him totally. But I must stress to the general public and our people that ever since Aubrey Norton has taken the leadership of the PNCR, he has been working assiduously every single day. every single day. Sometimes I would look at Abby and say, this short man, think he able, he able. All dungeons you could see Aubrey coming out. So as it relates to preparing for the next election, Aubrey himself never stopped campaigning. He's always campaigning for the elections. That is why he was successful at the local government election. That's one. Two, Kedaki, I don't like to talk about our I think that when we have a problem in our house, it should not be discussed in the public. But this one I have to speak about. When it comes to that picketing line at the Elections Commission, there's a particular guy that normally has the lead that he will organize things there. And I think he is being very disrespectful to some of our women folks out there. They have complained about it. Over and over, they've complained about it. He thinks when you go there, he thinks he owns you, and he don't treat people with respect. And for that particular reason, I used to go to that protest, and I decided not to continue going there. That's it. And the other one is that I like it, Dan. You got a nice hat this morning. I want to live for Kabari.
Caller, I'll see you on Tuesday at the Elections Commission. Is that a yes?
Pardon?
I'll see you next Tuesday at the Election Commission.
Yes. The other thing is that I don't know if you went to Rhonda's concert yesterday, but I wasn't feeling well. I could not have gone, and I hope I don't come in for fleet abusing from Rhonda. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Organize your tent and come next Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I'm your host, the Buxtonian Kidaki Amsterdam. We have a voice note.
The big party.
This is a whisper note. Caller, good morning.
Kidaki. And everyone listening. Dennis, I accept your so-called apology of not being able to come, but I must say the concert was well attended. Two friends who usually be on the protest line came all the way from Georgetown to give me strength at the concert. And for those of you who didn't come here, I missed a real treat because in the midst was my priest who comes from Ghana. No, can't remember the country, but it's one of these popular countries, Nigeria. And he and his wife, I made certain that they took the stage. The wife said that in Nigeria, they have 1,000 languages just in Nigeria alone. And she said something in Nigeria, but she said she don't really understand much English and she's shy. But when father came, her husband, he spoke on Nigeria and he prayed for us in one of his Nigerian tongues. He also sang a hymn in Nigerian tongue. So we had the coming together. In the concert too, I had two children who are in the drumming class, the school, that are of mixed race, Indian and black. And they were there, they performed. And people may say that I beat down on Indian people. I don't really beat down on them. I beat down on the hateful ones. But when you could have a concert, that the whole concert there and all the thing was the emancipation, and you had children of mixed race, that show that I am not a racist. Two, I heard Kadaki talking about election. I want to say my piece. Everybody's entitled to their piece. The 2020 elections, the people voted for APNU to be in power. when they did the first count that Roper gave for election, APNU was in front of the PPP. When they did the credible and valid count, there was a count of 115,000 valid PNC AFC votes against 50-something thousand PPP credible votes. You understand? So when people coming out and saying that the people did not vote for APNU, you know what we're doing? People who knew that they voted, people who have heard the results coming out from the count before and after the recount know that we have voted for APNU. And when you go and say that the people didn't vote, you're lashing us in our faces. Also, everybody talking, nobody blames Roxton George, you know. Roxton George is the person who has this country the way it is. With our acceptance, it had about 4 results from the election. And she took the 1 and 3 was APNU. And she took the 1 to her mind to put the PPP in. And I hope as Roxton George look and listen to the cries of the people of Guyana, I want her to look at our handiworks where we installed regime instead of making your population enjoy the wealth that has been bestowed on Guyana. The few take it and put it into their pockets and do whatever they want to do. And the ordinary citizenry is punishing. These tears are for Roxton George. Now last Tuesday, we were at the protest line and the richest passed by in the 2 little cars, blowing, you know, like they make them up. But I want them, the team, the big team that Reuters is looking after, they could only use the belt around Guyana because the day they step out of Guyana waters or Guyana airspace, I think a jet will be bringing them, carrying them to where they are needed. Now the last thing, I didn't get to say it because every day we had different things, so that wasn't being held. Now with this Chief Justice, the body who in charge of the Police Complaints Authority, you know, the body must be watched to see what happened to the most powerful man luncheon. And apparently the cold hands gripping at them. So now they get up and talk. All these years, all the atrocities that was going on in the police force, why wasn't he never coming out and talking against the ills of what the police is doing? Lastly, on Friday I got up. I've been doing work at the Soil for the concert. Bail come out. Just got to meeting, I noticed a vehicle in front of my yard. Well, I said, wow, this is it. When I look, 2 Kolibai jump out. Then afterwards, a black police come out. And the thing. So I asked them, what happened? Because they coming in the yard. They said nothing. They kicked down my gate and they come in the yard. Then the 2 police stay on the road. And the black police, see that? He run in. When he run, I don't know what he doing because I come to see the area, the place. He think and teach much, they trying to rock down the door. Anyway, when he come to get through, and I keep asking them, I said, what going on? They said, come there. If who is my son, can my son come and live in here? This name they want. I said, I don't know where he is. Tell he, we looking for you. We want you. You know, when you a black mother, see police come to your house for your black son, it does like your whole inside done. Because you know when the police come for your child, your black son, it's because they come in for killing. So you understand what is going on with me. Anyway, the thing, and then they walk out and they cool by. Yeah, what tell you? Say, no, that is not for me. Me police, me gotta do your work. You go and find me. Later I learned when I got out on the road from intelligence, my son is married and he and his wife got a set of problems. My son built a big house.
Rwanda, not
just
here.
now, Kadaki.
Rwanda, Rwanda,
Kadaki. Yeah.
Not here.
All right. Kadaki. All right, later.
Address the police issue, not your son business. The lines remain open. 6225922 is the number to call. Somebody send me a whisper note. I hope y'all could hear it. Call it live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam, and a happy Monday to you. Two things. I would like to say that the WPA, you, Dr. Hines, your fight and this message is such a timely one because people, Africans especially, they're under attack, and we need to be radical. It's no place for no school by politics now, and I think that this government realized the impact of these messages. That's why they're, trying to do whatever they can do to shut people up. But the truth gonna always set us free, and it will prevail. The other thing is that, I noticed you've been running some ads for a few people, but, I would want to encourage that maybe Buxton, you could start with Buxton where you guys can come together and maybe form a chamber in which, the local businesses in your area, if they're going to do some contributions for other what have you, and, you could have different things. And I would want to say that there was a man that used to work at GSA, and he used to bring a Marby from Buxton. I don't know who used to make this Marby, but that's the best Marby that I have ever had so far. I know what's gonna happen because people not following up on what they good at. I guess they're gonna just die down, and we're gonna lose that talent. So I'm encouraging you to get a few business people together and y'all do something and, make it work for Buxton. Yes, and I would say sometimes I'm angry with you of how you would just cut Rhonda off so suddenly. She wants to tell her story.
Are you angry at this time?
Yeah, because as a mother,
yes, but hear me, Cheryl. Carla, let me cut you now. Let me explain this to you. Rhonda wants to tell her story. I understand Rhonda wants to tell her story, but that doesn't give Rhonda a right to tell her son's story in the public. Whatever issues her son is having with his wife or his marital affair, is private and personal to him.
Do you think she would have gone down that road?
Do you know the level of animosity that Rhonda would be creating by discussing her son's marital troubles in the public? He's going to be angry with her. I can tell you that.
Well, that's so true.
And so should I allow her to talk about it? You tell me you don't know she was going there. That's where she was going. She said it. She find out that her son is married and his wife got some problem. He built a big house. I know where it was going.
Okay, well, daddy career, not for style, but I guess wisdom too. So
perhaps.
Thank you for that. Yes, you have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ever so often people tell me they're angry with me for cutting Rhonda off and so on and so forth. But listen, I explained the other day that sometimes people think I'm rude. It's out of love. It's out of love. I believe in tough love. Trust me, I believe in tough love. You have to be able to, if you, especially if you tell yourself you're leading or you're a leader and or you're aspiring for leadership, you have to think ahead. You have to see issues when they will arise and stop them dead in the tracks, as I like to say. Right? There's so many times I stop Rhonda, and if I can count, or if I should save a coin for every time I stop Rhonda, I'd get money. But she would have been spending money if I allow her to continue. Right? The other day I told her to get some money, because the Chronicle wrote an article about her with a lot of untruths. I told her, contact your lawyer. Take them to court, get some money. I wonder if she took that advice. Has any of you seen that article and given her that advice? Call it live. Good morning.
Good morning, Kadaki. Good show, good show, good show. Listen, you're the only person that I think know Rhonda so well. So well, as soon as she opens my mouth, you know what's coming out next. So I am glad that you did interrupt her. Kudos for you. You're the only one who knows her very, very well. And she should be happy when you interject to her on certain things. Kadaki, oh my goodness. You see, I calling for a couple of days. I can't take wrongdoing, so I just try to stay quiet. Because yesterday I was on fire. Yesterday afternoon, so I guess you saw and you heard about what went on up in by the airport there yesterday. It brought tears to my eyes. I was like so.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, Clark, I guess you didn't heard about it, where they were like taking away people's house lot that they put on the instruction, all this kind of stuff. I guess you're gonna hear about it later. Kadaki, when you gonna? I think you had mentioned something about some donation for something. When you gonna start doing it?
I don't know exactly what you're talking about, Carla. You have to be specific. I know we have protests coming next Tuesday, and I'm asking people to organize teams of 10 at least to come and join us, and so we can have a big and impactful protest. I did mention that I've started the culture club with some youngsters, and they're going to be meeting on Sundays at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I think that's what we were talking about.
Perhaps.
But, okay. All right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. So Ron is explaining herself via the live chat. She said the police were coming to empty her home under the pretext of some distress warrant. Again, there are lots of things that I see wrong with our society and our community and the African Guyanese community and all of that. I believe in mediation. And so a lot of family issues which finds itself in the hands of the police, quite frankly, ought not to find itself in the hands of the police. Community leaders need to sit and talk with people, or people need to seek out community leaders and try to resolve their differences without getting the police involved. Right? I don't know that the police, as Rhonda is saying, could turn up at her home with a warrant and empty her home for whatever reason. Because whoever is claiming what is in our home ought to be made to provide receipts, proof of ownership. Otherwise, anybody could go to the police and claim that what you have in your home is theirs. I don't know that the law operates like that. Good? Sometimes, I'm not saying this is the instance, but sometimes the hearsay could put us in problems too. Right? No police can come at me and tell me he come for collect none that I got without showing whoever claiming got show proof that they own it. And then if I am in possession of something that doesn't belong to me that the other person claims and shows ownership, then I should be charged with possession of stolen article or whatever it is.
Good morning, Kadaki. You're right. I agree with you. Rhonda should not tell her son's business in the public. The lady that is talking, she's talking that because she wants to hear Rhonda's son and his wife business. This is why she angry with you. This is why she want Randa to start the story. And if Randa do that, you should that anybody that in agree with her in her area, there's something they can throw back in your face. So you're right to stop Randa from talking her son's business. I agree with you for that. Good morning, Randa. Don't get vexed with Kadaki, but he's doing the right thing.
If Randa get vexed with me, she can't vex along. Randa, that's my girl, man. Y'all don't worry yourself. Call it live. Good morning.
Good morning, concerning the PNC, the coalition with the PNC, I think that you're right in terms of this party thing. Because it's both times the PNC leadership message of Devin Prasad and Guijo. Taking advice from my room and tell them about one tea party and them things. You see how they come in, I know what happened. People they're tired of PNC, these chippiness, they get the same sharks and they get the power, they start to operate like kings and queens. They can't talk to them anymore. A lot of people are frustrated. So that's why people, I like the how you and that kind trying to rebuild the confidence in black people. So you do what you do, you see how it's coming. You know, that time PNC party and the leadership lacking PNC started. I think it's not doing enough. But yeah, should you need to do more than enough as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Thank you. Voice note.
Kalaki, good morning. The struggle had meet at a strategical junction right now, where you all have to strategize. You all have a good team. You all have a very good team. When you look at people like Simona Brooms and so on, you will have a wonderful team. A team that will defeat the PPP coming and going. The PPP, they will not engage you all on no kind of the debate because they don't have the intellectual capacity to do such thing. So the only weapon the PPP have right now is to continue doing evil. And they know that they're on the brink of defeated. So Kakaraki, this morning, I want to urge you to keep the struggle on. Don't ease up. Keep the fire burning, man. And all I'm saying is victory. Victory, victory. Have a blessed one.
Thank you for your call. Your voice know that is. It's now 3 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. Let me remind you that on Friday we got Kwekwe. Yes, a whole big village Kwekwe. Don't ask who married. Because I was married too. I was married too. If boy like a fan married, I was married too. If girl like a Arya married, I was married too. I was married too. Yes, Kwekwe night. Friday the 25th of August, come down to Kidam's place, Club Twilight that is. And let's have a big village Kwekwe with Brian Chester and the Kwekwe crew. Yes, we must keep the culture alive, you know. We have to celebrate. August is coming to an end, but August is not the only month when we have a culture. Our culture is every day, every minute, every second, every year. And so let us not give up and let us not stop
to observe and celebrate and connect our young people to their cultural practices. 25th of August, Club Twilight is Kwekwe night. Come down. Tell them pick the Moma for shut the chamber window. The royal Kidaki is coming down to marry the glorious daughter. Right, and if you want people to host Kwekwe for you, if you got somebody that is getting married and you want somebody to host a Kwekwe for you, hit me up. I can give you the right link. Buxton has always had the best Kwekwe practitioners in the village. Good? No, that Thursday night Kwekwe for Saturday wedding. Kwekwe is the night before the wedding. Good? Cherry Glen, you want some impromptu wedding? Back in the days, they used to do match wedding. I don't know about it now. Denise is saying that the background noise is distracting. I guess she is talking about that voice note that was being played just now. I can't control everything. Sorry to say. People are viewing the program long enough, and I keep telling them what to do, what not to do. Sometimes you get to the point where you just leave people to their own devices. If you think you could whistle and blow cane at the same time, good for you. Good? Right, but on a serious note, come the 25th for Kwekwe, let's have a good time. And we're going to have some mixed meat cook up down there. We're going to have some Creole food, mixed meat cook up. Definitely you're going to get some good fried rice. Here, let's tell you something. The best fried rice you could eat going to come out of Buxton at Club Twilight Friday night. I know what I'm saying. The best fried rice. Some people just get some boil up thing and call it fried rice. Come and get some good fried rice from Club Twilight Friday evening, Friday night in the Kwekwe. Good? Ice cold beverages. The bar will be well stocked. You're going to get all kinds of foods at the bar and so food bar and thing. Come down because Kwekwe night is a whole lot of cooking. In East Borbies, them managers do. Have you ever heard about the trench fire? Trench fire is what they just cook on in East Borbies when they got Kwekwe. Call it live. Good morning.
Good morning, Kadaki. Yo, you're a real father, my brother. Real father. I like you. In the Bible, you got a man where God said that because of your reasoning and your judgment, you gonna be the king. I can't remember the man there, but you're walking in there. This all I love in the program. That's all. Good morning and enjoy.
Thank you,
Blaze
Father.
fire. Blaze them.
That is, it was from my end. The caller who was sending the voice note was listening to Flash at the same time. So, the device picked up both songs. That's all. So, a lesson there is, for people to understand, if you're recording a voice note, you need to turn down the program on the other device you're listening to. Good? Even when you're calling, you need to turn down the device in the background because it's a distraction. Right? But come out on the 25th of August to Club Twilight and let me play Kwekwe. And on Tuesday the 20 what? What's that? The 27th or 29th? I think it's the 29th. Tuesday the 29th, yes. Tuesday the 29th, we're going to be in front of GCOM from 12 o'clock. I'm calling for biometrics and a clean voters list. I hope you will join us out there too. Good? Those of you, the direction to Club Twilight. Now the direction to Club Twilight, it's the sideline down between Buxton and Annandale towards the seaside. You should get on the main road going to Borbies, as we say Rupert Craig Highway or Borbies Road, whichever one you want to call it. But get onto that main road there, and when you get to the Buxton sign, if you're coming from Georgetown, you will see a sign as welcome to Buxton. Make an immediate left towards the seawall. You won't miss it. Signage and so on is out there. The landmark for most of you who use the East Coast would be that blue and white water tank. Gaiwa has a blue and white water tank right there at the head of the sideline dam. Good. If you're looking for smaller signage, there are two signs out there. Sabo Puri Shop, I think, and the other one is Kidam's Hideout. Good. So you can see those signs. Welcome to Buxton, Saros Puri, and Kidam's Hideout. A left up that road and you're going to get to Club Twilight. My hope is that the road is going to be in good shape by Friday because they're currently doing construction. Construction started sometime last week, I think. At least the planning for construction of the road. And so even if it's not paved as yet, it should be graded by then, and so it should remove all of the potholes and so on that people are accustomed to. Good? Bring your crew. In fact, we might very well have a quick competition. You know, them boxing girl can't wine, them boxing girl can't wine. We are going to have some whining challenges for all you know. Because one of the things people do a lot in the Kwekwe line, right? They got a name with a scarlet, the circle which is formed and when you're dancing in the Kwekwe line and so on. Some people call it Congo line and so on. But the story is, at some point in time, family has to represent themselves. And so if the Joneses' son is getting married to the Thomas's daughter, you're going to hear them Jones boy can't wine, them Jones boy can't wine, them Thomas girl can't wine, them. And so it's big whining competition. Everybody from the different sides of the family is jumping to prove that they could wine. Good? That's all I want to tell you. Come down and let's have some fun. Let's connect with the culture. Let's keep it alive. Let's show the young people what it's going to be. A lot of people are asking if I'm going to go live with it. I'm not sure. So if you can get here physically, it's best you do that. Because sometimes things become so overwhelming that I don't even remember that you wanted me to go live with it. Good? Yeah, they got to show me the emotion, huh? Anyways, Sharon Glenn said, please do. Like I said, I'm not sure. No promises made. I always try to reach out to you and make you happy and so on, but no promises made. Come down and show me the last one before you lay down. It's 5 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Let me remind you that Club Twilight needs a bartender, a waitress, and a kitchen assistant. So if you have an interest in any of those jobs, you can make contact on 622-5933 for further information. Good? 622-5933 for further information. Club Twilight is looking for a bartender, a waitress, and a kitchen assistant. Okay? Good. Likewise, you're looking for the best cuts of meat, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop in East Rhineville Market. Good? You can call 609-2049 and ask for Rastaman and make arrangements to get the best fresh cuts of meat. Bye-bye. See you all tomorrow. Join Dr. Hines tonight for another Politics 101 production. And join me definitely tomorrow morning for another program of Guyanese Morning